again, on behalf of the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications, welcome to our California Connects regional convening in Los Angeles. You know, gatherings are not new. Gatherings and convenings are not new for OCPSC. The Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications, for short, OCPSC, or the office. But this is the first time we're gathering all of our GovServe partners. So we're really excited. In 2024, the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement was launched. Houses the California Volunteers Youth Empowerment Commission and our office. And we're really excited to bring all of our partners together under one roof today. And we're excited to meet new folks. Again, today is all about connecting and collaborating and finding other regional partners to network with as we move forward. It's great to see some of our longtime partners, Central City Neighborhood Partners, Central CHA, California Research Service for Independent Living, California Association of African American Superintendents and Administrators, MEND, One Generation, Project Joy, and SALVA, just to name a few. If you are OCPSC or California Volunteers team members, can you please raise your hand? Great. For those of you who are less familiar with either one of our programs, please find one of our team members, and we're happy to share more about our offices. Since day one, the office has had the opportunity to travel throughout the region, hold regional community meetings and convenings, and I've had the privilege of doing that with our inaugural executive director, and now as your acting executive director. I'm so excited to continue being in community, listening and learning with all of you. Our office has served as a bridge between state government and community, and really we have found that collaboration and learning together really gives the best results for the communities that we serve. At the heart of these convenings is connection and access. Every community deserves to feel seen, heard, and connected to resources. Just a quick handful of highlights of the folks in the room today. 43% of the attendees today have California Service Corps members. 72% serve youth 6 to 18. 60% serve households with limited English proficiency. 60% provide services in the education field. And there are 37 languages that are served by organizations in the room today. So please give yourselves a hand. And also just to give us a quick idea, I know I gave some percentages, but we really hope that people within programs and things can meet each other as well. So if you are here as a partner of California Volunteers, can you please raise your hand? If you are here as a partner of the Youth Empowerment Commission, can you please raise your hand? All right. And if you are here as a partner of OCPSC, please raise your hand. Or none of the above, and you've heard this through a partner, raise your hand. Great, well we're so happy to have you all here today. Again, just to give you an idea of who's in the room, please make sure you're meeting new folks today. Today's agenda session is designed to be helpful for organizations across multiple sectors, nonprofit providing direct services, educational institutions hosting service corps programs, tribal organizations, and we're really lucky to also have a number of state agency representatives in the room today. I'd also like to take a moment to help, to ask you if you are posting on social media, please tag us, OCPSC and California Volunteers, in any posts that you make today. We would love to help share them and share your wonderful kind of snapshots and memories from the day. I would also like to take a moment to thank elected officials whose offices are represented here today. Senator Van Allen, Assembly members Pilar Chavo, Isaac Bryan, Blanca Pacheco, Jesse Gabriel, Blanca Rubio, Mike Fong, Catherine Stefani, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, and Jose Luis Salache Jr. So thank you all for being here and taking time out of your day. And for all of you, we know that today is about collaborating, but it does take you away from the communities you're serving. So we really appreciate the time and the commitment that you have for collaborating with us today. With that, it is my distinct honor and privilege to bring up our director and California State Chief Service Officer, Josh Fryday, who's been a champion and connecting
you are ready to get some work done today. So welcome everyone. It's really an honor to be here. My name is Fryday. I have this great privilege of serving as the director of the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement. And how cool is that California has a Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement? Because we think that the work that you do is so important that we need to create an entire office and agency in the state of California for it. I'm proud as a Californian that we have this. And if you haven't heard about it, it's because it's new. GoServe, the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement, is new. The governor created it about a year ago, and it comprises of a few departments that you just heard about. One of them is California Volunteers, which oversees the California Service Corps, and we have several of our partners here today that we'll talk about. We also have the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications, say that 10 times fast, which many of you have worked with, does really incredible work to make sure that we're reaching communities deep and that we're organizing our communities in all different languages and where they are. And then we also have the brand new Youth Empowerment Commission to try to engage people across the state. And so we put this all under one umbrella, under one office, GoServe, to try to do something new. And to try to do something new in the state of California. And we have the service side, which is the California Service Corps, and we heard 42% of you are hosts, where you have one of our members, maybe one of our College Corps members, where we're providing debt-free pathways for students who serve while they're in schools, at food banks, in schools, in our parks. We have our Climate Corps members. Maybe some of you host some of our Climate Corps members who get paid to organize and mobilize around climate change in their community. Maybe you have some of our Youth Service Corps members, who are low-income youth, formerly incarcerated, foster youth, who are given the chance to serve and contribute and give back to their community and launch a career. And we also have our AmeriCorps members. So that comes on the service side of our work. And then we have this thing around community engagement. And the question is what does it mean to engage right now? And the truth is we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to understand how do we do this better. And so many of you are experts in this room right now about how do we really truly engage what we consider the most important asset that California has. The reason we have the fourth biggest economy in the world. The 40 million people that call California home. How do we engage our people? You all are on the front lines of this. And we feel like if we're actually going to be successful in engaging our people and engaging our communities, we have to do things differently. We have to realize that we can no longer work in silos throughout government, throughout our communities. We have to connect differently. It's why we launched this program, these regional convenings, these California Connect opportunities, so we can connect differently. At a time when we've become so polarized and divided, so disconnected from each other, where we have a loneliness crisis, we have a mental health crisis because people are seeking connection. This is an opportunity for us to connect differently. And I want you to take that opportunity. So actually, let me do this right now. Will you all do me a quick favor? Will you all look to the person to the right and left of you? Give them a big high five right now. I want to see a big high five. Give me the person across the way. There you go. I like that. I saw some air high fives. I saw air high 10 over there. I like seeing that. That's what today's about. And doesn't it feel good when you give someone a high five, when you lift someone else up? Doesn't that make you feel good? That's what we're trying to do today. And so the goal of today and the challenge of today is that you get to see some familiar faces, which I'm sure you see already, some friends, some people you work with every single day to help lift up your community. But most importantly, that you connect with somebody new. That you come out of today with a new partnership, a new relationship. And that you understand that we all have to do this work together if we're going to be successful. And now is the time that we have to step up and do this. It is why we launched this now. Because as the government in D.C. shuts down, California is stepping up. And we are powering up our community. We live in a time where our communities every single day are being attacked. And it is up to us It is up to the people in this room, it is up to the state of California, it is up to all the representatives of our local and our state government to say, we will not succumb to the division. We will support each other. We will take care of each other. We will protect each other. We will defend each other. We will stay connected and we will stay strong. And that is what today is about. And that is why we need each and every one of you. So I'm so grateful that you all came today. I'm so grateful that you all took your time to be here in this moment right now. And I'm so grateful for the work that we are just starting today, scratching the surface, and that we must continue in the days, in the weeks, in the months, in the years ahead. And I now have this really great honor to introduce somebody whose entire life work has been dedicated to engagement, to lifting up her community, to investing in the next generation as an educator, as an organizer. Your assembly person, she prefers and she loves to be called Fryday. She is an assemblywoman elected by the people of this district to engage differently, to organize differently, to bring people together differently. And now let's hear it for Assemblywoman Fryday.
I'm so proud that I convinced him to call me Assemblymember Fryday because I feel like everyone's like, what's your last name? Tell me how to say it. How do I do the Assemblymember situation? But definitely appreciate you all. And I'm so glad to be here, so proud to be able to represent our community in the State Assembly, and truly feel like it's not about us in the State Assembly. And as proud as we are to do this work, to have these titles, it's really not about the titles today, it's really about the people. The folks like you all, the community leaders who are stepping up every day to really do the work that we need, especially in times like now, right? We need to build partnerships when we're in times of crisis, especially in Los Angeles. This year we had, unfortunately, the devastating fires that impacted so many of us. My family actually lives in Altadena, and my sister lost her home. And so having folks who come together in these times of crisis makes such a difference. We also know that our communities, our folks, our Black, brown, immigrant, queer communities have really been targeted by this administration, right? Our working class, who we see the fact that healthcare is being gutted. We know that education programs have been slashed. I know Josh talked about the shutdown. I mean, we are seeing it everywhere, and we know the importance of actually ensuring that we are not just allowing this hate and this disinformation to divide us, but that we're actually coming together in a real way. And so that's why this convening matters so much, because we know it's about really doing the work together, the power in this room, bringing community together, making sure we have organizers and public servants and leaders, healers and advocates. You all are doing the real work on the ground every day and continue to lead when Washington chooses profit over people. We know that, and Josh talked about my background as a community organizer was always about the opposite, choosing people over profit. And so I know that when I walked into the State Assembly and had the opportunity to do this work, I didn't want to forget about that. In the beginning, I had a little bit of imposter syndrome. I tell folks I'm honest about that because I came from a world of organizing. I came from education. I had never been in an elected office before. I didn't even know exactly what that world would look like and how I would be successful in this world. But the honest truth is that the organizers, folks just like you, we know what it means to center people in this work. And not just center ourselves, center our titles, center our power, but to really think about how do we center people and build power with our folks by engaging them, by making sure that they're at the table when we make real policy decisions. That we're not just talking at people, that we're talking with people, that we're doing real work to ensure that the policy really impacts folks on the ground because they're a part of that process. And so it's really, I think, making sure that as we think about this work, that it reflects real life, not just the bureaucracy, not just what we often hear about when it comes to our government. And so whether it's preparing our neighborhoods in terms of the work that you all do for extreme heat or countering that disinformation we talked about online. We need your voice, we need your leadership, so continue to stay rooted, continue to stay grounded, continue to do the work to uplift our folks, and hold us accountable, your state leaders, the folks who represent you, because that's what's really going to continue to help make that difference. Together, we know that we can build a California that truly, truly centers equity and truly uplifts every single one of us, and making sure that we are not allowing justice to wait. That's the non-negotiable. So let's keep showing up, let's keep building coalitions, let's keep making it happen, doing the work until everyone feels safe, seen, and heard. Thank you, everyone.
Oh my goodness. This is why I go first. Such powerful words. Thank you so much to Director Fryday. Thank you, Assembly Member Sade. Please give them another round of applause. All right. Who's ready? Yeah? How about over there? Who's ready? All right. Time to pull out your phones. We are going to do a quick Mentimeter. So please scan the QR code, go to menti.com. Our code for this exercise is 6501-7849. 6501-7849. If anybody has any issues, raise your hand. I think we can go ahead and get started. What city did you travel from today? Los Angeles, Palm Desert, Sacramento, Koreatown, Downey, Glendale, San Gabriel, Winnetka, Berkeley. Woo! I love that. North Hill, Southeast LA, Lancaster, Willowbrook, Florence, Culver City, Hunga, I think that's how you pronounce it. Is that right? What's that? Oh no, Hunga? Yeah. Royal Heights, Burbank, Compton, Simi Valley. Great to see so many folks here in the room. Thank you for traveling here. We'll go to the next question. What word describes your mindset this morning? I hear a lot of sighs. Hopeful, content, overwhelmed, ready, blessed, inquisitive, focused, busy, empowered, collaborative. These are all amazing. Thank you so much. Motivated, eager, present. Yes, we love that. So much to do. Yes, also that. Great. Keep them coming. We'll go on to the next question. What do you hope to gain today? Connections? Yes. Relationship. New insights. Knowledge. Renewal. Partners, learning, network, support and collaboration. New friends, yes. Collaborative partners. New funding sources, we will have that too. Life-changing experience, well, that's a tall order, but we'll try. Help, ideas, vision. I love it. Insights and connection, growth. Awesome. Thank you so much. As we do some, thank you so much for sharing. We hope that we live up to some of those insights and hopes for the day. We'll do our best. Next, we would like to bring up our first panel, really just to help kind of say more about what Director Fryday shared about our office and the different programs and departments within our office of the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement. So I'll be joined next by Marcy Kaplan, Maya Rivero, Jennifer Serrano, Nicholas Evans, and Anna Martinez. Great. Well, to get us kicked off, I'll start with Marcy. Marcy Kaplan is the Deputy Director of Community Engagement for OCPSC. Marcy, can you please share more about your department's work and why connection and collaboration are critical to driving real, lasting impact from health work?
Thank you, Audrey, and thank you everyone for coming today. OCPSC was established in July 2022 and really built to be the single statewide entity to work together to ensure statewide coordinated community engagement and communications across the state. For our office, collaboration isn't just necessary, it's critical. And together we work with community-based organizations, we work with state agencies, we work with local and ethnic community media. So through a variety of different opportunities, whether it's we're bringing together community-based organizations to host collective impact tables, we work together with community-based organizations to ensure that organizations are working collaboratively throughout regions. So whether it's identifying gaps, opportunities, sharing resources, or utilizing data to ensure that we're reaching communities that most need critical information from the state. Together, we also work to bring together state agencies across the state through our state agency work group. We also bring together state agencies and community-based organizations. Additionally, we have a critical tool that we utilize for, some of you in the room may be aware of, but this really allows us to really look at where we're working together with communities across the state to ensure that everyone has critical information from whether it's resources from particular state agencies or recent updates from the state. Additionally, we also partner with community-based organizations through our grant program, including our Trusted Messenger Network. And through that work, we really work together with partners to ensure that the information that we're providing to communities is bite-sized and it resonates with the communities that organizations are serving, to really ensure that resources are available to them and information is included, to ensure that information is accessible to communities across the state.
Thank you, Marcy. Nick, same question for you.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Nick Evans here. I'm the Deputy Director for Program Operations at California Volunteers. As Josh mentioned earlier, California Volunteers oversees the California Service Corps. So our office is tasked with engaging Californians in service, in civic engagement, and volunteerism more broadly. Really focused on addressing some of the state's most pressing challenges, so really ranging from education and tutoring to food insecurity to climate change, disaster preparedness, among others. So the California Service Corps is comprised of, on a program year basis, over 10,000 Californians who are stepping up to serve their communities. And those programs were mentioned. I'm actually speaking a bit later, right before lunch, so I'll dive a little deeper into those programs and into California Volunteers. But on the question of connection, right, connection is critical to what we do, right? I think about it on kind of two different levels. Like one is connecting Californians who want to serve with opportunities to serve. And so that's where so many of the organizations in this room come into play. And then it's connecting organizations who have a lot to offer their community, but maybe need individuals to step up, connecting those organizations with Californians who are prepared to serve. So thinking about both lenses. And then the other connection piece that I think about quite a bit this connection. Through service, folks find meaning, they find purpose, they find community, and so that really anchors a lot of the work that we do. I know Anna's going to speak after me, but a great example of that sort of connection work with the LA Regional Food Bank, and we have a number of our service members who serve there on an ongoing basis. And obviously this past January, LA County experienced a devastating fire disaster that continues to impact communities across this county. And our service members were able to plug in and support the community here because we had established partnerships with organizations like the Regional Food Bank. So it's great to be here. I look forward to meeting more of you as the day progresses, and you'll hear a bit more from me later on.
Jennifer, I'm going to pass it down to you for youth empowerment.
Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Serrano and I'm the Senior Program Analyst for the Youth Empowerment Commission. And work with the Commission in nature, we are an advisory board to the Governor, the Governor's Office, Superintendent of Public Instruction, and so forth. And we have a charge to really build civic engagement opportunity for youth, specifically youth under the age of 25. And how we do that is by doing listening forums across the state. So we visit different areas across the state of California, and we work with youth leaders and community partners. And our work is very important that we collaborate with youth and community partners because we're not charged to build something new. We're kind of how I mentioned earlier, we're a commission that is meant to bridge a gap between youth and policymakers. And basically what we're trying to do is already take that landscape analysis and that groundwork already done, that's being done by these youth leaders and community partners, and elevate that to state government. And how we do that is through physical policy recommendations, and especially being able to capture the voice of the youth that go underserved and go unheard. And when I say that, and that's very meaningful to me because as we talk about these challenges that we currently face in the state, in this country, often youth are overlooked. And that responsibility, we imagine just for it to be on the adult, but we don't often think and talk about how that responsibility is put directly as someone who has to sacrifice the youth experience. And if you were to ask what is the difference between the youth experience now and back then, well, I would say the same. It's very limited on who gets to experience that youth. And now it's just, we have seen it more often in media and so forth. So our commission is really trying to elevate and center those voices and make sure that youth are part of the whole decision process so they don't get surprised at the end of the year with these resources and try to have to take those and squeeze them into their current needs, but rather be able to be part of that conversation so they're able to really vocalize. And I like to say youth are very loud, and they have been, and they know what they want, and they know how to get there. There's just a matter of, do you want to join us, or do we have to keep going again? So it's very important that we recognize that. So I'm also very happy to connect and share more about the work that we do and learn about each one of you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now we'll pass it over to a couple of our partners to really kind of help us understand the impact of the partnership and collaboration between each of our departments and our community partners. I'll start with Myra, and I don't want to embarrass her, but Myra's the face of our convening, so we made her convening famous. So thank you, Myra, for being here. Can you talk a little bit about the partnership with OCPSC and how that's helped support your work?
Yeah, good morning everybody. Myra Romero from SBCC. So definitely the partnership with OCPSC has been a key for organization. First of all, because it gives us the opportunity just to conduct more outreach and education to the community countywide, because that's the way we will serve. And also through the collective back tables, to the convenience, to the state debriefing, and also the connections with other CBOs, local businesses, the outreach we can just be providing, and of course the leadership from our regional program managers, who I have the opportunity, privileges, Gabriela Gonzalez and also Hugo Munoz. It has been, yes. It has been amazing. It has been amazing just to be connected, everybody, and just for the same goal and same purpose.
Anna, can you share a little bit from like how our volunteers partnership perspective?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me here. Well, to give you a little information about the food bank, just so you can tie everything in together. So I work at the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. We service a little bit over 600 agencies throughout Los Angeles County with food assistance. So boys home, those that are unhoused, battle women shelters, adult programs, older adult programs, children's programs, they all come to the food bank to pick up food to take back to their site and distribute to their community. So we're this essential clearinghouse for food for nonprofit organizations throughout Los Angeles County. And we have a wonderful, long-lasting relationship with, try to say this 5 times fast, OCPS. See? I did it bad. I can't even read my own writing. Sorry about that. But we started back 5 years ago during the pandemic with the Cow Guard. So the governor's office activated a lot of our assistance during that time when volunteers started leaving. The majority of our volunteers were from corporations, faith-based organizations, higher ed, high school groups. But because of the pandemic, the unknown, right? The unknown. A lot of our volunteer base left. So thanks to the governor's office and OCPSC, sorry, I'm murdering your name, I apologize that. We were able to get so much support and during the time that we still needed to feed people, and we needed more during the pandemic than ever. We also were able to have an activation of AmeriCorps Vista that helped us recruit so many individual volunteers, because that became our base of recruitment for volunteers to help us sort and all this incoming food and boxing foods that we were doing, mobile distributions, drive-through distributions throughout the county, all the way from Antelope Valley to Long Beach. That's who we service. So this has really activated that. And then I don't know if I want to really promote California Volunteers College Corps, because we're competing with some other nonprofit organizations, but it's a wonderful partnership. The juice is worth the squeeze. This is our 4th cohort, and we work with a lot of higher ed students, and these students are absolutely amazing. As a nonprofit, as you know, we're outnumbered sometimes by the number of volunteers. We have anywhere from 150 to 300 volunteers on any given day helping us out. But with with College Corps fellows, we're able to engage them to help us engage the community and help us fight hunger in our community. So if you are not a partner with College Corps fellows, I definitely recommend you. But again, it's some work that needs to be involved. There's some supervision, there's some mentorship that needs to take place, because a lot of these students haven't worked, or they haven't had professional experience. So there's a lot of onboarding that needs to take place to make sure that your organization is aligned with the College Corps fellows. It's a great partnership. Again, it's our 4th cohort, and we couldn't do the work that we do without this partnership that we have.
Great. Thank you all so much.
I'm so sorry, I forgot one key component. During the LA fires too, your office was able to activate a lot of climate change, Climate Action Corps members to come out to our facility and help us fight some of these food boxes during the Eden fires. Now that the media has left, we're still in the recovery stage, and we have a lot of these College Corps fellows also helping us with that. They're in the front line. And with College Corps fellows, they've enabled us, they've provided a little bit over 30,000 service hours to help us fight hunger in our community. And also with the Climate Change Corps members, they helped us around 2,000 hours. And they were activated literally within 48 hours. So the office really helped us support during this time that we weren't even we were kind of in the crisis mode ourselves to figure out what needed to take place to help those in our communities. Thank you. I apologize for that.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much to each of you for sharing a little bit more about the work and the partnership. I encourage anyone to come and find any of these folks to learn a little bit more. We definitely want to partner with you if we haven't or aren't already. So please find these folks and learn more. Thank you so much. So with that, we are going to move into kind of an interactive part of this morning to get everybody to know each other in the room. each other. So this exercise is really meant to kind of bring us all together in the room. Hopefully, you'll meet new people if you haven't talked to the folks at your table already, and just kind of understand how we can move forward together. So with that, I would love to bring up our fabulous facilitator, Scott Winter.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, I guess you're wondering why I'm here. I've been a part of service and service movement for years. I grew up in a small town, and if it wasn't for organizations like yourselves, I probably wouldn't be here. I got involved in youth leadership. As a result of that youth leadership, I've been able to travel the world and really do some fun stuff. There's something going on with my, be good? All right. No, there we go. So as a result, I worked with the United Nations trying to give youth a voice there. So we tried to create an office for young people, led by young people. That led to all kinds of opportunities, but always in the element of really being of service. And my own set of issues growing up with an alcoholic mom and an abusive father, if I didn't have an outlet of service, I would not be here. I would probably be 6 feet underground. Because of the experience, it opened up opportunities for me. And as a result, again, I've been able to travel the world and meet amazing people. But it's about getting our hands dirty. And so I live in the town of Chico now. In 2018, we had the campfire. So my heart goes out for all of you who've been impacted by that fire. Because since that campfire, what really was so profound on that day was just how much humanity shows up as the disaster is unfolding and even after the disaster, right? And so for the last 6 years, I've spent the rest of my life just kind of thinking about how do we tap into that same level of humanity before disasters, because I spent the last month of August and September doing a statewide tour with OES doing disaster preparedness. And there's a book called Unthinkable, and there's a woman named, I forget her name right now, but she has a line in her book that says that in a disaster, that people will die because of low trust, more so than the actual disaster. And when I think about what we're here to do today, is to really build trust and confidence and maybe establish new relationships to grow our capacity. So that humanity, so that because we know the data shows that if you have connections before disasters, you can actually be better at responding and recovering from those disasters. There's also an element of today where I want you to be thinking about, how many of you have ever heard of the movie Mind Walk? You ever heard of that movie? It's really a wonderful story about a physicist, a politician, and a poet. And they're on an island. This came out years ago. And there was a moment in this time where I still remember vividly, where the scientist is sitting on in this castle. She's throwing up an orange, and she goes, imagine this castle as an atom. I geek out on this stuff, just so you know. And she goes, I'm holding on to this orange or apple, and this is the nucleus. And moving around the nucleus in infinite space is protons and neutrons, right? And she then describes how the only difference between herself and the chair that she's sitting on is the relationship of those atoms, right? And so today is really about how do we start to think about relationships in new ways, because who would you be without the relationships that you've had, or even have right now? So today is really about leaning in and really in a sense of going on a mind walk with yourself, because you all have that little voice in your head, but also having a mind walk with the folks that are at your table and also around the room. So that's what we'll be getting into next. So we're going to talk about what is your capacity quotient today, and really understand, because for me, this is really the secret sauce of the work that I do, is how do we build capacity? How much capacity exists in this room right now? How much potential for doing good exists in this room right now? And what would happen if we could tap into that by just maybe 5% more? What can that do for our region, for our communities, and for our members? We're going to go into the idea of what are some of the things that we have and what are the things that we need, so we have maybe leverage. Because the issue isn't not necessarily always lack of resources, it's really about better coordination, better collaboration to kind of build up our capacity. 3 is resource expertise. So again, how do we tap into the knowledge in this room? And then hopefully you leave with some plans of how do we start to not necessarily create new partnerships, because how many of you are in a partnership where it's a relationship where it's kind of exhausting? Like we're actually doing more work than the actual partners. So what we're seeking here today is how do we kind of create new smarterships? And what I mean by smarterships is, what can I do that's going to add value to you, and you're going to add value to me, and as a result of that collective added value, we just really profoundly change and add value to our communities and our neighborhoods, etc. So this is about having a different way of thinking about how we come together. So really we want to expand our collective capacity today and our collective collaborative mindset. So with that though, let me just wait, before we start here, I want to kind of share this little video because I think I want to take the lid off of it. So take a listen to this.
Training fleas requires a glass jar with a lid. The fleas are placed inside the jar and the lid is then sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behavior is now set for the rest of their lives. And when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
How many of you are a little disturbed by that video? So part of this is starting to recognize how might I be like a flea in terms of the way I'm thinking? Because what I have to do is I go into communities and I'm like, how do we tap into that capacity? But we have to take the lid off. Part of this is really about having a mindset. I'm working up in Alaska with a lot of the tribal native health community up there. And we're dealing with communities that have absolutely no running water, right? And the stories that they tell themselves make it hard for them to come up with some solutions. So tapping into it, again, they have years and years of generations of poverty, and they just had a huge hurricane, and communities are getting flooded, and homes are being ripped away. And it's really hard to stay optimistic when you have those sorts of odds against you, but yet they still find new possibilities. They find new ways of coming together, but they have a mindset, and I think that's part of the spirit of this community, because when you think about the narrative at the national level, they have a math problem. They're about division and subtraction. You're not going to grow capacity with division and subtraction. It's only going to be through addition and multiplication, and ultimately really coming together. And that's really the intent of the exercise. So the capacity quotient in your mind is how many say you have a lot of demands in your life? Tons of demands, right? How many say that your capacity feels like this, maybe even lower, right? Lower. Yeah, exactly. Get a lower. All right, so the idea is, so that's where stress lies. So stress is when demand exceeds capacity. So how many roles do you have in your life? How many of you are parents and spouses and partners and volunteers and workers and stuff? And you start to wonder why you're feeling what you're feeling because you have that capacity. So part of this is like, there's more to us if we have that shared focus. So we want to understand what is our capacity quotient? What does that look like in our town? But I've found over and over again that there's always more there if we make that connection. If we form the way we think and the way what we're doing in new ways that adds different value. So innovation today isn't about creating anything new. It's asking yourself, what would happen if you combine your organization with your organization and your organization? And as a result, we have new value for our members. Right? It's not about creating new things. It's about really understanding that we've got a lot going on. And what would happen if we actually work better together in that process? So we want to kind of use collaboration as the thing that closes that space. And this is the opportunity to kind of create that building block for that collaboration. So the space between demand and capacity, right? So again, when it's lower, we're in that stress. And what happens when we're stressed? And I studied the brain, and we know that when you get stressed out, your brain goes to about 30 degrees of what you look for, right? So we've got to keep the aperture open. And it's hard to do when we're dealing with so many things that are coming our way. And so I'm not going to let the narrative outside the world control my choices in my world, because we have a lot more choice if we can just come together. So I want to keep the aperture open. So we have to keep practicing that. 2, demand massive capacity. We have a system, a stable system.